My grandfather left me his pocket watch and his will. My uncle showed up at the funeral with a crowbar. I was standing in the receiving line at the funeral home shaking my grandmother's hand when I heard metal scrape against asphalt outside. The hum of conversation in the room dropped half a beat. Through the glass doors I saw my Uncle Calder walking up the front steps in a black suit, dragging a crowbar against the concrete like it weighed nothing. My stomach dropped. My grandmother's grip on my hand tightened. She whispered, "Don't let him near you." My grandfather, Otis, raised me. My mother died when I was 7, and my father had already been gone for 3 years by then, so Pop took me in without blinking. I lived with him from age 7 to 19 in the same 2-bedroom Craftsman on Fenwick Street, where he'd raised his own kids. He taught me how to drive in the church parking lot. He paid my community college tuition out of a coffee can he kept under the kitchen sink. He had 4 children, and only his daughter, my Aunt Marisa, ever called him on his birthday. Calder is his second son. Calder borrowed $43,000 from Pop in 2019 and never paid back a dollar. The last time I saw them in the same room, 2 Christmases ago, Calder had cornered Pop in the kitchen and said, "When you're gone, the house is mine. The watch is mine. You don't get to play favorites with the orphan." Pop had said, "I get to do whatever the hell I want with what I earned." Calder had laughed and said, "We'll see." The pocket watch was a Hamilton Railroad piece from 1923, brass case worn smooth on one side from 60 years of Pop's thumb. He'd shown it to me 100 times. He read the will to me himself 8 months before he died, sitting at the kitchen table with his lawyer on speakerphone. The watch was mine. The house and the savings split 4 ways. Calder had thrown a chair through Pop's window when he heard about the watch over the phone 2 days later. Calder walked into the funeral home with the crowbar held loose at his side. The director, a small man named Mr. Pelham, stepped in front of him. Calder said, "I'm here to pay my respects. Move." Mr. Pelham didn't move. Calder pushed past him hard enough to knock him into a flower stand and walked straight to the open casket. He wasn't there for Pop. He was there for Pop's jacket pocket. I crossed the room in maybe 4 steps. My cousin Theo was already moving from the other side. Calder reached into the casket and patted Pop's chest, then his pockets, frantic, his face going red. He hissed, "Where is it? Where's the goddamn watch?" I said, "It's not on him." He spun around. The crowbar came up to his shoulder. The room went silent the way a room only goes silent when 40 people stop breathing at the same time. I said, "It's in a safe deposit box at First Citizens. It's been there for 10 months. Pop put it there himself. The lawyer has the key. You're holding a crowbar over your father's casket in front of his entire church, and you didn't even check if the thing you came for was in the room." He froze. I could see his jaw working. I said, "Marissa, please show him the email." My Aunt Marissa stepped forward with her phone already open. She'd been Pop's caretaker the last 2 years and his executor on paper. She turned the screen toward Calder and the room. It was an email from Pop to his lawyer dated 10 months back, with a photo attached of the watch sitting in a numbered safe deposit drawer. The subject line read, "In case Calder tries something stupid at the service." A woman in the back row said, "Oh my God," loud enough to carry. Calder dropped the crowbar. It hit the carpet with a thud you could feel in your chest. 2 of my cousins grabbed his arms. The funeral director was already on the phone with the police. Calder started crying, actually crying, and saying, he knew I'd come." I leaned in close enough that only he could hear me. I said, "He raised me to know what you were before I was old enough to read." The cops took him out the side door in cuffs so the procession to the cemetery wouldn't be delayed. He's facing terroristic threatening, attempted theft, and disturbing a funeral. Marisa had a restraining order ready in her purse, already typed up, waiting for a judge's signature. Pop had paid her lawyer for it 11 months ago. After the burial, I drove to the bank with Marisa and the lawyer. The watch was exactly where he'd left it, wrapped in a square of soft flannel cut from one of his old work shirts. There was a folded note tucked underneath it in his shaky handwriting. It said, "Winded every Sunday, like I taught you. I wear it on Sundays. I wind it on Sundays. I am 27 years old, and I have never once forgotten."